Today is Saturday, June 26, 2021. I do have a guest today, but before we get to that, I saw the worst movie I've seen so far this year. We're going to get into why, but first, I want to make a very bold proclamation. I know it's going to sound crazy, and I will support it with evidence, but Dominic Toretto from Fast and Furious would physically dominate Captain America. Welcome to Derapy Season 2. I love movies, and I love seeing them in theaters. I'd even call myself a connoisseur of sorts. As critical as I am about TV and film, I can also appreciate a bad film. I appreciate bad television. I talked about it in previous sessions where my girlfriend and I have watched Jersey Shore like 1,000 times. Clearly, I'm a sucker for terrible things. But F9, it crossed the line. The silver lining is I did not suffer alone. I thought multiple times throughout my viewing experience, I should just leave. This is too much. It's awful. It hurts. I can't take it anymore. But I went with a friend, my only friend in town.
What's up, guys? I'm Sharif, and honestly, Derek, I was thinking about leaving the movie theater quite a few times while I was there myself.
It was painful. I'm glad you were there with me. It was one of the more... I've never been so angry on the way home from a movie. Have you ever seen a movie that's physically hurt you to sit through?
Yeah, I've had one of those once or twice while I've been a big movie goer, but nothing like this. I think it was kind of out of the blue.
So I once saw Fantastic Four, the new one,
yep.
And I think I was 30 minutes into it, and I was like, Michael B. Jordan's a sexy man, Miles Teller is a great actor, he was great in Whiplash, but this is too much for me, and I had to leave. But have you ever walked out of a theater before?
Once. I wish I could remember which movie it was, but I think I got just fed up. Maybe
was the acting? Was it the action? Was it the plot?
I think it was mostly just the plot. I've actually seen a few movies where the acting was okay, but it was nothing superb. It was more so the plot.
Right. So, Sharif is my only friend in town, the only person that still lives in Murfreesboro after I finished college, and the love of my life, my fiance, my everything, whatever. She's somewhere else, so I had to drag him to this movie with me. Honestly, I'm so glad that she didn't go with me because I wanted her to. She refused, and if she went, she'd be very angry with me. So thank God that wasn't the case. I just had to suffer, and Sharif was there to suffer with me. Today, we're going to talk about what exactly makes such a terrible movie, something that has a $200 million budget, can somehow hurt me to my core. And
a lot of things.
I'm going to try not to spoil it. We're going to try our best not to go through the... Look, it's a Fast and Furious movie. How much could we really spoil? Look, we're not going to talk about who dies and who doesn't die. We'll probably talk about who should die. Definitely not enough people. Not the right people die. You know what? We'll get there. So, the first thing that I want to talk about is... people are very aware of what the Fast and Furious movies are and what their shtick is. And it seems like the creators and the actors, the producers, the director are very aware of how people perceive these Fast and Furious movies. So they purposely make a joke about how nobody can die, no matter what happens to them. They always pull it off. So I know how I felt in that moment. How did you feel hearing them openly talk about being invincible?
Honestly, I thought it was gonna be a foreshadowing to them getting fucking superpowers.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, it's just ironic to me. There's literally a show that you might be familiar with. Well, I know that you are, but beloved podcast listener might be familiar with, called Invincible, where the great irony in Invincible is it's a superhero who's very clearly not invincible. He's getting his ass beat all the time. So it's just funny to me that in this movie, they bring up being invincible, being immortal, never being able to die, always completing the mission, never being in any danger. When I first heard that, I was just like, that's them trying to get ahead of the ridiculousness we're about to see. You saw it and you were like, oh, it's going to turn out after 9 movies that they've had superpowers this whole time.
Dude, it was in the first 30 minutes too, so at this point in the movie, we've already seen some shit go down. That shouldn't be so absurd.
Oh, so we can talk about this because it was actually in the trailer of the movie. So when Dom, the main character, when he drove his car in like off this cliff and had this rope tied to the car and swung the car like around the mountain, like after that happened, I kind of knew we were in for like a ride because, spoiler alert, after he swings his car around the mountain, the car hits the ground, tumbles like 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and then Letty, like his main love interest, looks at Dom and is like, "Oh, that was new," and they just change scenes, like nothing happened, like everything's okay.
And I'm not going to say this is a spoiler, but just to give you an idea of like what we're talking about, throughout the whole movie, Dom is wearing the same white tank top. And Derek, it never gets dirty, scratched, etc. It's pristine.
Even towards the end of the movie, we're not going to spoil whether or not Dom lives or dies, but I'll give you a hint. Like, he might be okay. At one of the last scenes of the movie, and it's still right after the action scene, like the scene hasn't changed, he dives out of a vehicle and rolls on the ground, gets up, and the tank top looks like it's still on the rack at Target. Like, there's just no reason it should be that clean. So, once we kind of saw the beginning of the movie, I kind of knew, like, okay, they're really going to run with, like, this invincible thing. One of the main things that kills me about this movie, everybody is so incredibly skilled. So, one of the previews that we saw before the movie was James Bond. And James Bond's known for being good at everything. He's supposed to be, because he's James Bond. But everybody in our movie, every single protagonist, and most of the antagonists, all also have the same skill set as James Bond. So, like, for example, like, Ludacris is supposed to be, like, this tech genius. He's super good with math and science. So, why is it that when he's fighting 4 people, he can, like, Jackie Chan them all into oblivion? It doesn't make any sense. Like, Tyrese is supposed to be good at driving, but somehow he's also, like, Deadshot, because there was this scene where he's literally by himself, like, in a hole, and he's surrounded by, like, 10 guys. They all have guns. They're all shooting. He's shooting back. They all die. He doesn't. It's not even funny.
It's just annoying at that point.
Yeah, it's like they're throwing it in your face. And Dom, here's how I'm going to back up the bold statement that I made earlier. So, like, when you think of Captain America, like, what do you think of generally? Like, what's his shtick?
Literally a super soldier.
A super soldier. He's strong.
Yeah.
He's fast. He can fight multiple people at once. He has incredible, like, agility, dexterity. His like, he has, like, the reflexes of Spider-Man.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows exactly what he's doing in
Yeah.
a hand. And also, he doesn't use any weapon but a shield. It's very symbolic of him, actually. He's always on the defense. He's always defending something.
Yeah.
But Captain America, have you seen that, what's the movie where he's in the elevator fighting a bunch of guys? Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Was that Winter Soldier? I think it was Winter Soldier.
If it was Winter Soldier, I haven't seen it.
Oh, well, in one of the newest Avengers movies, he's also back in the same elevator. Oh, he says, like, Hail Hydra, whatever. Marvel Cinematic Universe spoilers. Anyways, Captain America is supposed to be able to beat up 7 guys at once. Again.
Easily.
Yeah, easily. Because he's juiced. He's jacked. Like, he's literally cheating. He's supposed to. He's a superhero. I don't want to get into a huge spoiler, but there is one point where Dom, you know how in, like, a lot of movies where the protagonist is like, you guys go on without me. I'm going to hold him off. There's a situation like that with Dom. Tell me what you thought was going to happen when he, like, shut that door and was like, I'll take him. Like, what did you think was going to happen to him?
What are we talking about?
So you remember when Letty and everybody is getting away? They're all running away.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Just had to refresh my memory.
Yeah. What did you think was going to happen when he pointed to his heart and he was like, I'll always be with you. When I see that, I'm like, he's going to die. He's sacrificing himself.
Yeah. He's basically just eating it and just
you've seen the end of I Am Legend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally like that.
Yeah, basically.
He runs in with a grenade. Yeah, that's what I think is about to happen. Now, again.
Okay, so I thought that he was just going to, like, hold them off while they get away. Mm-hmm. But in reality, his love interest, forgot her name already.
Letty.
Just stares in the in the door, just staring at him, basically like watching him just eat himself. Like just full ball in it, just going ham to the wall.
So tell me if I'm remembering this wrong. So there's like 4 or 5 guys at first, right? And he beats them. And then after that, they bring in so many more guys that you're like, oh, okay, so I thought he was going to survive, but actually, he's definitely sacrificing himself. Yeah. And usually at that point in the movie, they would like cut to black, and they would just go to like somebody else talking, and you're like, oh, I guess we'll find out what happened to Dom later. No, he just starts boxing like 18 people.
Dude, okay, so there's this one scene where he literally picks up this one dude and throws his back against the railing like Bane did to Batman. That's how I thought of that. Like, that scene when Bane picks up Batman, and you know what I mean? Just, like, throws him against his knee.
And Batman is clearly hurt.
Yeah.
And that's Batman.
Yeah.
And it's important that you brought up the fact that... It's important that you brought up the fact that Dom is always wearing this white tank, because he's not wearing, like, body armor or, like, Kevlar or anything. No. He's just in a white tank top. Just boxing people. And these people that are... The people that they're sending after the Fast and Furious crew, they're like trained soldiers. At one point in the movie, they were like, get 50 of our best. You remember that, right?
Yeah.
Trained soldiers. So he's fighting off... If he was supposed to fight off like 3 people, I'd be like, oh man, Dom's really in trouble. They are sending literally a dozen people at Dom.
It was quite a bit. I just pictured them being so completely useless. Like for example, in the Star Wars franchise, these clones are notorious for just not hitting jack shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like that's their equivalent in Fast and Furious now.
Yeah, there was a point in the movie where, I think it was, like, towards the beginning of the movie, Letty, she was on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
You remember? And, like, they were just shooting, and she wasn't even looking back at them. She was riding the motorcycle. I'm like, so not one person hit her, hit the bike, hit the tire, nothing. She's not even turning around. It's like, now I know you guys said you're probably invincible, but, like, it's getting insulting at this point. So, just to drive the point home on Dom being able to beat Captain America, because I know that sounds crazy, but there's a point in, have you seen Captain America Civil War?
Yeah.
So, do you remember the scene where, it's like my favorite scene, so Cap is chasing Bucky, who's being chased by the Black Panther. They're all like running on that road, and there's a point where the 3 of them are standing in the middle of the street, and they're surrounded by guns and helicopters and stuff, and they literally all just give up. Dom doesn't give up. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, Captain America, Black Panther, and the Winter Soldier. 2 of them have super serum. One of them has a shield. One of them is in a vibranium suit that is bulletproof. And they're all like, all right, guys, you got us. Dom says, I got it. He's fine. Spoiler alert, they don't kill him in that scene. And what kills me is in the next scene, we're so far deep into it. Forget it. Whatever. Forget the spoilers. It's honestly, don't go see the movie. I didn't expect to get there because I'm so angry about it. There's just no excuse. You can go see the movie. Just go into it knowing that it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. I agree with Derek completely, but if you're that person that's into just sheer tomfoolery of like a plot and subpar acting, and you kind of like enjoy that aspect of any movie, whether it's comedy or not.
Dude, it's like a Transformers movie.
Yeah.
Basically.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. It is like... So, yeah. Long story short, if you take Dom Toretto from this F9 movie and put him up against Captain America, I don't think Captain America could do anything to scare this man. Like, he is fearless. He's all about, family. The only other things I want to talk about, I mean... We could talk about all the impossible crashes and falls and tumbles that they take with no armor and there's no zero. I literally forgot. I don't even know if it's worth mentioning. Well, here's the thing.
See, I brought it up just because like I didn't know if I should bring it up or that it'd be better off for the viewer to see it as a surprise. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. There's just.
And if you guys heard what I whispered, hopefully Derek will.
Okay, hold on. Give me just 1 second. The only reason I was hesitant to bring this up is because, one, it is such a funny surprise in the movie. Because, the reason why I didn't want to bring it up is because I made a session about feminism where I was talking about Cardi B. And then I made, like, in literally the session before this, I was talking about hating on Cardi B for getting Offset a minute. So I didn't want to bring it up again because people were going to be like, Derek hates Cardi B. I don't hate Cardi B. She's everywhere, okay? I unfollowed her on Twitter. She's the reason I quit Instagram. So I'm not following her there. Like, I'm in the car just doing my job, giving people rides, and this dude's like, oh, that Cardi B girl. Like, she's everywhere. I'm watching Fast and Furious. Cardi B just pops up, like, I don't want... She's everywhere, okay?
And she got that WAP, bro.
I'm not bringing up Cardi B to be mean. It's just the fact that, like, what more can you add to a movie to just make it that much more ridiculous?
I definitely appreciate the cameo. Like, it was such a surprise to me because, of course, I didn't give half a fuck of Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
So I did no research, didn't watch the trailer, nothing.
Yeah, and it's just... Cardi B pops up, and honestly, I'm just like, yeah, of course. Of course Cardi B's here. Yeah, obviously. And she's just being Cardi B. And look, I'm not trying to, like, dog on Cardi B's acting, because when she first shows up, I'm like, oh, this is fun. And you can hear other people in the theater like, is that Cardi B? You know that's Cardi B. And whatever. Her acting isn't great, but, like, it's Cardi B. And like you were telling me after the movie, a lot of people's acting wasn't great. So it's not just her. It's just... everybody that's involved. But when I Googled this literally right before we were doing it, and I saw the budget was $200 million. And they've already made over $200 million. And it's only been like 3 days or something.
Yeah.
So,
I definitely enjoyed the cameo. I think besides this cameo, I want to say Deadpool 1 or 2 with the Brad Pitt showing up.
I don't even remember that.
Oh, man. It's probably off topic, but I'll specify a little bit by saying, I think it was Deadpool 2. Brad Pitt played a secondary character. It was like a minor superhero in Deadpool's little posse, and he got electrocuted in what are those things called? The electric wire?
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
There's never going to be like an electric force field or wires in a movie unless somebody's going to get killed by it.
And he was Invisible Man, so you didn't see him until like he got electrocuted.
I guess that was I kind of like movies like that put like really like high tier actors or actresses into it, and just so they get killed immediately. It's like that happened at the beginning of Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
That happened. That movie. There's this movie called The Hunt, and I'm not going to spoil it because I actually want you to see this movie. It's great. Have you seen The Hunt?
No.
So, there's a very popular actress that's in it, and you think she's going to be the main character, and they just, like, she gets dusted. Like, she gets smoked, like, in the first 10 minutes. So, I do appreciate that, but, yeah, I mean, we talk about the acting. The acting's, like, I mean, everybody that's already in the series, they're so good at playing that character because we're on the 9th movie, but everybody else is, like...
And his name is John Cena!
I like John Cena, actually. John Cena did his job.
He did his job.
Right?
I feel like the writers and producers made that character just for him.
I feel like it was... I mean, at one point, he was literally doing wrestling moves on a guy. So like, I don't think he had to go that far outside of his comfort zone.
I mean, realistically, he didn't even talk that much.
Yeah, so... You told me that you were bothered by, like, the plot. You thought it was messy, it was all over the place, it was stupid.
I'm gonna say it was... The plot was okay. I just feel like it's nothing special, nothing new. I feel like acting goes a long way in this kind of like action-packed movies. But with that said, I do feel like the plot was definitely, as you said, messy.
Well, this isn't a spoiler because it's been used in so many different movies. It was literally used in this series already, where they're looking for a thing, but the thing turns out to be a person.
Yeah.
And, like, they did the same thing in, like, Rush Hour, too. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, how many times are we going to do this? Like, it's not even that surprising anymore.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't even plan on talking about this. It's not in any bullet points or anything. But do you know how ridiculous it is to be 9 movies into a series and be like, he had a secret brother the whole time? Like... How do you expect me to get...
I feel like that kind of stuff is such a cliche movie trope.
Do you know how dumb it is?
Plot twist.
Do you know how dumb it is to... And I've seen all the other movies. I don't remember them all that well, but there was no hint or suggestion of this secret sibling. And it's just gross. There are only a few other things I want to talk about because I feel myself getting angrier and I'm trying to keep my mental health in check. The comedy. There are some things that
I feel like the comedy was the worst offender.
The only saving grace was Tyrese and Ludacris.
They're great.
They're fun.
They're great.
They're funny.
Yeah.
They were in space. I don't even want to get into that.
No, I think that's too much.
I don't even want to get into it.
But it's great.
But like, I think it's in the trailer, and everybody's joked for years, like, oh, what's Fast and Furious going to do next? What are they going to do? Go to space? They go to space. It's like they're just spitting in your face. Like they know how stupid it is, and they're like, we're going to do it, and you're going to go see it, and we did. So,
well, they got us.
the comedy that's supposed to be funny isn't funny. What Sharif probably noticed I was laughing at was every time the laws of physics were broken, I just started like, people next to me towards the end of the movie probably thought I was like crying because I was emotional. Because like there were points where I was leaned forward in my seat and I just had my hands over my face because I was like, I'm just trying to hold it together because I've never seen anything so ridiculously offensive.
This scene isn't particularly comedic in any sense, but when Tyrese, right, his name, just books it away from the bullets, like 3 feet away from him.
Yeah,
he's like,
the man's dodging bullets.
I'm good.
He's like the Flash,
basically. Yeah,
they could beat the Avengers. Like, I've been thinking about it all the way home. I was like, okay, Black Widow would get dusted. Like the way,
and the Archer boy for sure.
Yeah, the combat skills that these people exhibit, you would think every single one of them was Jackie Chan. Like they cannot lose a fight. Nobody loses a fight, and nobody loses a fist fight in this movie. Like there was this other Fast and Furious movie. Ronda Rousey was in it, and she was like one of the chicks in the Fast and Furious crew was like getting her ass kicked by Ronda Rousey. I was like, well, that makes sense because that's Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
In this movie, it does not matter who it is. Dom and the crew, they're going to win. So let's just like realistically think about this for a second. Because like I'm very serious about this Avengers thing. So like Captain America.
Okay, I will say for the Avengers, if they start adding like Hulk and Thor into the Avengers against this fight.
Hulk and Thor? No. They're literally not people.
I feel like
Black Widow.
Yeah.
Hawkeye.
That's his name.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
I think they could take Iron Man. Like, he's...
Dude, Dom is going to throw his car into Iron Man.
There are things that they did in this movie with vehicles, and they have magnets! Iron Man's
We didn't even
done.
talk about that, yeah.
We didn't even get into the magnets. The use of the magnets.
I feel like that kind of ruins the story.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, there's, like, a lot of this movie used to be about driving cars. Now it's about using magnets. I don't get it. You just have to go see it. So, the last thing I want to talk about, speaking of Avengers and Marvel, these movies became more and more aware of like the human element of things. So like, I think it was Man of Steel and then Batman vs Superman. Have you seen those movies?
Yep.
You're aware of them at least.
Yeah.
You've seen them. So they make a big deal about the fact that like, okay, what about like normal people? Like these fights between Superman and Zod, like there's a lot of, you know, what's it called? Calamity, catastrophe, innocent casualties.
Bystanders, yeah.
Yeah, innocent bystanders. This movie throws all that shit out the window. They're like, I saw so many cars get destroyed by these magnets and these stunts, and I'm like...
Imagine the property damage.
Like, they are killing hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Buildings are collapsing. Cars are being blown up. Like, they're in the middle of a city. Like, it's... And no one says anything about it. At the end of the movie, they're all bumping Coronas and hugging each other. Yeah. And it's just kind of sickening. So, what did you like about the movie?
Yeah, I feel like we've been pretty negative towards the movie so far.
A little bit.
But what I will say about the movie is it's part of a larger picture in the sense that it's very tied to like an older... not gonna say generation of movies, but like an older time span. Well, of movies. I think because there are 9 movies now. Like it's part of a good, long-standing series that most of us have grown up with.
I was gonna say they're banking on the fact that you watched the first 8 movies.
Yeah, and to be honest, I haven't seen any Fast and Furious movies until the 3rd one.
So basically, what we're saying is it's pretty much our fault because I think they expect you to come into it like watching the last 8 movies, like in the last 8 days.
Yeah.
So I think, here's what I'll say. If you just recently rewatched all the Fast and Furious movies coming into this one, there's going to be a lot of... Yeah, why would you do that? But I considered doing it, and then I was like, I feel like if I do that, I'm not going to watch this one. Because like 6, 7, and 8, they're already starting to get a little crazy. So by the time I get to 9, I'm going to be like, this is going to be too much pain. Because I'll get to my conclusion, the reason why I feel that way. But this movie, if you're familiar with the Fast and Furious franchise, if you already like it and you want to see how crazy it gets, by all means see this movie. It's a blast. Like it's hilariously,
it's good popcorn.
Absurd.
It's a good popcorn movie.
Yeah. So who would you recommend it to? People that have seen the other movies.
If you've seen most, if not all, of the other movies in the series, give it a try. I'm sure you would find some things you like about it and some things you might not.
But like, for example, like if your mom called you right now and was like, well, what did you do today? And you're like, oh, I went to see this movie. And she was like, would I like it? What would you say?
I would say no.
Yeah. Like if my mom or my dad, who I have lots of respect for, if any of my friends that know me were like, hey, Derek, I know you're always watching movies. Should I go see it? I'd be like, did you watch the other ones? The answer to both questions, it's the same thing. If you haven't seen the other ones, don't see it. If you have seen the other ones, go see it. Either way, for me, I have seen the other ones, and honestly, I still kind of hated it. Like, we were talking about like what we rated on the way home. You said like a 3.
Yeah, I definitely said a 3. I think you said a 2.
I said a 2.
Yeah.
Because the only reason it's not 0 is because if it was 0, I would have left. Like, there's nothing here for me. But
yeah.
I knew if I stayed till the end, it would only get wackier, and I knew I'd get some content out of it. Because I was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And I was honest to God thinking, like, they would take out Captain America. They'd take out Iron Man. I was like, they are super powered people.
Honestly, personally, I would have left already if I could, but I'm pretty sure you were the driver. So.
Sharif just needed a ride. I told him, I was like, the only reason I didn't walk out is because you were with me. Because if I had gone to see it with Spice, my fiance, I would have seen how terrible of a time she was having, and I was like, you know, we can go. Like, it's okay. So, yeah, if you've seen the other ones, go see it. If you haven't, don't. But if you're just looking for a laugh, maybe pregame, get a little tipsy, get a little faded, do whatever you want. It'll be a blast, I'm sure. You'll be like, oh my God, I've never seen nothing like that before. Oh my God, I've never seen nothing like this. I've only had now 2 guests on here, so I'm curious to know how you felt doing this.
Well, I mean, I appreciate you having me on the podcast, but I'm not gonna lie, it's been kind of weird listening to my own voice. I'm pretty sure no matter who you are, they'll say I don't like my voice, and
yeah.
It's whatever. I mean, you get used to it, I guess. But it's been fun.
Well, I'm a bit of a podcast veteran now. 30
30
episodes
Alex
in.
Jones.
So, when I first started doing this, listening back to it on my own when I was doing the very first session, I was like, I hate this. I hate how I sound. No one's going to want to listen to this. I should just stop. Like, what's the point? Like, the first episode, I was literally just holding my phone up to my
just
mouth.
Just cringing, shaking.
Yeah, and I was just like, ugh. Everyone's going to hate this. What's the point? But I had a Spice on, and she's just typically more anxious than the average person anyways. And by the end of it, granted, we were drinking, and you and I are drinking now. But I think, regardless of that, I think that it's a lot easier to talk to just a friend or your fiance in general. I think, you know, if I told you, hey, Sharif, I need you to talk about Fast and Furious, and I'm just going to leave the room, you'd probably be like,
hold up. Wait a minute.
But, I mean, even though we have, like, a couple bullet points and notes in front of us, more often than not, we don't end up following that anyways. And
yeah,
we
I mean, you and I...
talk.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, you and I are pretty close friends at this point, but, like, I can't even imagine, like, guys just randomly coming in for, like, interviews and just like, oh, I don't even know you. Like,
yeah.
What do we talk about? Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
like, it's not natural.
Yeah, I do want to let you know that I appreciate it. I don't want to get gross, but I have been doing this on my own for so long, and it is very, it does make it a lot easier. It feels much less like work when we're literally just talking about a movie that we just saw, as opposed to me, like, stressing out. Because, like, when things get weird, like when my cats are making noises, or when I have to re-record something, usually I'm just in here screaming by myself.
Now we can scream together.
Yeah,
well, it's more like you screaming and me just laughing.
Yeah,
which,
and that's
fine by me.
That's more comforting. Like, if I'm trying to, like, calm myself down, I'm like, maybe I'll just have a little drink, loosen myself up. Like, I feel bad about that. Like, literally drinking on the job. But, like, when you're here, it's like, hey, I'm just talking to my friend about something, and I just happen to also be creating content. So, Thanks.
I think that's a good way to do it. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. All right. So I'll see you in a couple days.
Yeah.
This episode was made possible by Anchor. If you're listening to this episode on Spotify, please consider giving me a follow so you can be notified when I upload. If this ever ends up on Apple Podcasts, I'd really appreciate a 5-star rating if you enjoyed it. Follow me on Twitter at Derapy Podcast or Instagram at Derapy_podcast. The intro music is by my brother, Damon Buxton. Outro music is by Lobo, and cover art is by my friend Nick Johnson. Thanks for listening. This has been Derapy.